after listening, contemplation, and reflection, if we are not changing our lifestyle and attitude, then this journey is not worth pursuing. So, our journey is ignorance to wisdom. That is the last I have given the title. But before that, we had hammered the delusion. And before that, we were just learning that what are the different aspects and the principles in the Eastern wisdom. So, in this ignorance to wisdom, I just classified into 4 groups. The moment you have any form of anxiety, duality, conflict, problem in your personal, professional, and social life, look at these 8 or 9 factors we discussed about. The world is suffering, foolishness, scattered mind, attachment. You have to look at it. I'm not saying that you have to look at it and find out is the cause of my anxiety and suffering is one or more than one factors. I hate my dad, Justin. Now you see that. Now I have, if I'm not aware that hatred is present in my mind inside, and if I'm not taking care of that, then the world continues to suffer. My mind is only outside. So what happens in the second step, what is known as a satsang, company with the truth, that means that teacher and a student starts learning together, and that is why you see that is why we have Om Sahana Vavatu. May the existence protect both of us together. Why? Because we are learning the Eastern wisdom. Sahano Bhunaktu, may he nourish both of us together. So when there is a proper nourishment, we can listen to the talk and understand. Look at the beauty. Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahe. So we attend the session with awareness and attention. No, I'm feeling sleepy. Even though I will listen to you and I'll fall into sleep. No, Eastern wisdom is not for those. The seeker's quality is that we should have that awareness and alertness. We should be ready to ask the question. Our intellect should be at the highest level of awareness. Tejasvina vadhitamastu. Our journey of acquiring, receiving the knowledge should be vigilant, brilliant. It should be brilliant. Ma vidvisha vahi, ma vidvisha vahi. You look at the beauty of we have to do it early in the morning. Ma vidvisha vahi. There should not be any hatred and envy against each other. So against each other, against in the group, and also against the teacher or the seeker. Why we should not have that envy? Because my goal is to realize the real self everywhere. So you look at, so every day in the morning, it doesn't happen in a day. You have to, every day you wake up in the morning and the first thing you remember, any form of Mangalacharan will do. Otherwise, Terry will start getting obsessed with the body. So one gets obsessed with the body in a Terry way, other gets obsessed with the body in a different way. So both are obsession. Think. Master says, please, you are given an intellect, please think and get the right knowledge. So that is what the second group is. And the third group, are you changing? That is what the realization. You have done the practices, you have been attending the lesson, you are understanding, you agree that you are understanding. Are you changing? What change? Behavior and attitude, lifestyle. Inner change is there. My anxiety is gone, my duality is gone, my conflict is gone. People are the same in my house, but conflict has gone. You have to understand this. Because of our selfishness, our mind continues to blame and complain. My son is responsible, my honey is responsible, my parents are responsible, my friend is responsible, business, society is responsible, Biden is responsible, Trump is responsible. That is not our journey. That is the journey of those politicians, so let them remain. So once you realize, you have a realization means are you changing? And the fourth is, now I will continue to recall, remind, repeat, and revise until that awakening takes place. And once the awakening takes place, what happens in a way? You remember all these by default. By default, you remember all these principles. You need not to remember. It will happen. Instantly you remember. There is a revelation. So in that journey, we have reached to, there are 5 groups of practices. One is the pranayama. We have already covered. We have covered the pranayama at the primary level and the highest level of the pranayama. The breath is going in, Shivoham. I am the Shiva. Breath is coming out. I negate the world. I only see the Shiva only. I only see the water. There are no waves. Are you getting it? Metaphors. Now I only see. I don't see it. I see Shiva in the form of Terry, in the form of Dennis, in the form. Don't you see the water in the form of the waves? Practical, pragmatic. But then mind says, you are always talking of these metaphors. Metaphors, what it means. Why you are talking, talk to me straight away. Why you are talking last time, you already shared your experiences with the metaphor. Why? Why this knowledge? Why this knowledge is pointed out by the metaphors and parables. You bring out the most sophisticated scientific instrument to see the real self. Only the sense organs and the mind will be engaged, and the sense organs and the mind limits me. It creates an idea of selfishness, so I cannot see the real self by the senses and the mind. Are you getting it? Senses cannot perceive it. Senses have a limited range, so the mind is also limited. So the finest way to define that cannot be defined by similes and metaphors. Every master in the world, everywhere, including in the Western world, you go to the Bible and you see many metaphors. There is some camel can enter into the needle. Some metaphor. These are the metaphors every master uses. Blueness of the sky. Are you getting? You have to understand this part, because we put all our reasoning through the intellect and then we slip into the metaphor to see that, to see the water including the waves. Waves continues to exist for a temporary period, but we know the essence is the wave. I eat candy and dessert and some, ice cream, but still the essence is the sugar. You see, essence is the sugar. Essence is the sugar. It means intellect, strikes that. It becomes aware of that. What we have been doing all this, the third group of practice, which is known as Viveka, the discernment, is also a practice. Pranayama, we have done Pratyahara, and then coming to the Viveka is such a broad topic. I told you there are more than 25 different stages of Viveka. We'll pick up one and we will pick up few. And as we move further, then we will focus only on the Viveka. These metaphors are the effective means of expressing the real self, expressing that existence. Because the absolute truth is beyond the grasp of senses and the mind. What it means? I told you, real self cannot be the object. It cannot be objectified. It is always the subject. I am cannot become the object. And if it becomes the object, senses and the mind can perceive it. So those people, scientists who are talking of God particle, let them continue to talk. It has no substance. It has no substance. We have to extract the knowledge from there. So metaphors and parables bridge the gap between the limited understanding of the mind and the infinite nature of the real self. Do you see waves? How many waves are there? All waves are water. Does it make a sense? Yes. So these metaphors is something like, these metaphors, remember these metaphors are not similar, but they are pointers. There is a moon, so my finger is pointing to the moon. A finger pointing to the moon is not the moon itself. So while understanding the metaphor, I go beyond the metaphor. Yes, blueness of the sky does not exist, but I continue to see. But I know sky is not blue. We are entering into a very deeper and very interesting phase of this Eastern wisdom, the journey of the Eastern wisdom. Once you have the Viveka settled in your intellect, and it continues to move into the mind, what happens? You live into that state all the time. So there is a discernment between the right and the wrong. Right here is known as the auspiciousness, and the wrong, inauspiciousness. You wake up in the morning and you are into anxiety or mood swing, let me take a cup of tea. No, that cup of tea is your mantra, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Why I have to put my mind on the right track? Why it has gone wrong? Because of the past impressions I stored. I reacted millions of times until today. Those impressions are my fixed deposit. They return again. Outer situation, person, relationship acts as a trigger. That's all. They are not responsible. They act as a trigger. They remind my past impressions. See, you have helped me and you meet me on the street. So what happens? Past impression triggers. I express the humility. Now that is well known. But sometime what happens, you go to the store, say for example Walmart, and something triggers by looking at a person that person is a stranger, but it has happened because of the past impression. So we will understand that one Viveka, discernment, is between the right and the wrong, auspiciousness and inauspiciousness. You criticize me and I take it as an auspicious. Let me endure it and understand it. Is it possible? If it is possible, you have a higher level of Viveka. Good and the pleasant. The second Viveka we have to understand is the good and the pleasant. What exactly is the good? What is good will always remain good. We have to explore that. And what is pleasant? Pleasant is temporary. Pain hides the pleasure. Pleasure hides the pain. We have to understand. I like sweets. Okay, go on eating the sweets for 10, 20, 40 years. And after 40, doctor says, now you look very sweet also in blood. So the pain hides the pleasure. So we have to understand that. The third, we will pick up couple of this discernment. Then very important part of the discernment, I have to separate. Discernment means separate the mixture. So I have to separate right from the wrong. I have to separate good from the pleasant. And then I have to separate goals from the means. 99.9% of the people in the journey of the self-discovery, they commit this mistake, goals and the means. They take goals as a means and a means as a goals. Asana is a means. I take it as a goal. I start doing the headstand. I start demonstrating. Look at it. And we are lost. I am lost in the means as a goals. I told you the story. In New Jersey, in nearby Princeton, there is a big studio. And she's very beautiful. And women are always pretty. So anyhow, she is beautiful. And she has undergone 3 spinal surgeries. Why? She is getting obsessed with these postures. So when she read my profile, I have in those days, 35 years of experience. She said, I also have 20 years of experience with 3 spinal surgeries. Why? Because I'm doing yoga. Goals as the means. You see, we everything has to be understood. Then another Viveka, then we will understand the whole and the part. What is whole? You go and pursue the path of the whole, leave the part. You are with the real self. But you should have taught this in the very beginning, and we should have completed in one session. No, it is not possible. Because of the impurities of the mind. It is not possible. Intellectually, I can pick up. The water is a whole, wave is a part. Do you see? It is not possible in the beginning. We have to reach, we have to have a mental maturity. We have to have an understanding those 9 factors, how the world causes the suffering. Then only we can reach to that. And then after once we have did the discernment of this, what is right and the good, right and the wrong, good and the pleasant. I will give you the Sanskrit name of this, you will understand this. And the whole and the part, goal and the means, then we can easily separate the mixture between, what is the mixture? Sorrow and happiness. We want happiness. We want happiness in our life. So you see, once you go through these processes, steps, sorrow and happiness are separated. But the problem here, problem in the challenge is, understand. Metaphorically, we understand discernment is to separate. What is the metaphor? Is a pointer. My finger is pointing to the moon. So I can separate the black beans from the rice, physical level, water from the milk, little complex process. But when I separate, when I separate ignorance from the wisdom, real from the unreal, that is the last Viveka after 25 steps. Where is that last Viveka? So, in discernment, metaphorically, we have two things got mixed up, and we see the physical properties of black beans in the rice. But when I am separating the real from the unreal, here the unreal do not exist. That is why we have to do all these practices of discernment to strike instantly. I'm not the body, mind, breath, intellect, ego. Then who I am? I'm the real self. The real self, only real self does not exist. Can I say, use the phrase? So you remember, real self does not exist in ignorance or incomplete knowledge about myself. And unreal does not exist in self-knowledge. Did you understand? Unreal, false does not exist when you are awakened to the real self. And the real self does not exist in ignorance, in incomplete knowledge. No, how do you say that? I'm the body, I'm the mind, I'm speaker, I'm the teacher. So by these subtle processes, we go on inquiring. But now there is a caveat here. That is where the complexity arises and people get upset. Take an example of the metaphor, the blueness of the sky. Blueness in the sky, we know that the sky is not blue. All we are clear. So that knowledge is awakened inside me. At the same time, I continue to see the blueness of the sky. So I'm not rejecting the body. I'm rejecting the very ignorance about the body and the mind and the intellect. That's why I'm talking to you. Very subtle point in discernment. People miss it. People simply understand, take it literally, or discernment, separation. No. If we want to awaken to that spiritual consciousness, understand everything continues to exist. We don't change anything outside. Do you change the waves to know the water is the essence? Do you change the sky to know the sky is not blue? No. People have a very mistaken understanding. We are going deeper, I told you. If you miss this step, then it will take another 10 years to reach to that. Who knows, 10 years or 20 years. So everything as it is, I'm just moving, I'm talking through my, larynx and body, and everything is working, but wave is still there. Are you getting it? You have to contemplate. Without contemplation, this will not work. So in the Eastern, we say unreal exists only in ignorance or incomplete knowledge. What is that ignorance? I am the body. I am the mind. I am the intellect. I am the ego. I get rid of this incomplete knowledge. Are you getting it? We have to be very careful, alert. And that is why Master says, first purify the mind. Have a tremendous focus on these principles. Wisdom is the key of seeing illusion and recognizing the true nature of the reality. I remember the metaphor by, uh, I think that will help you. Metaphor by what? Plato. Have you heard the Plato's philosophical? He also understands that. So he gave a metaphor. Prisoners in a cave believe that the shadows cast on the wall are reality. Shadows cast. So how the shadow is falling on the on the on the wall. There is a fire behind, and there is a small short wall, and the people are moving behind the wall, and behind that wall there is a fire. So now it casts a shadow on the cave, and the prisoners, they were since birth, the they were the prisoners. They have never seen the world. So they have a misconception. They have, oh, this is how I'm explaining this allegory or a metaphor. So Plato explains that a group of prisoners who have been chained in a cave since birth, facing a blank wall. So I explained you fire, and people are moving in there here and there. There is a small wall, and shade falls on the wall. The prisoners can only see the shadows cast on the wall in front of them by objects passing. So they say, oh, it's real. It's real. Do you see the secret behind it? Consciousness behind it. Consciousness is behind it. And here is the body, breath, mind, intellect, thoughts, feeling, emotions. And it is reflected into the mind. I am the body. I am the mind. I am stressed. I am angry. I am upset. I have this. I don't have this. So you see the Plato. So don't say that any person, any part of the world can reach to that state. But fortunately, Eastern wisdom discovered in India for the last 10,000 years and have been passed on as a tradition, but come to the same metaphor. So, prisoners' perception of reality. What is that perception of reality? Prisoners engage in a conversation and games, naming and describing the shadows they see on the wall. So they are engaged into this world of misperception, ignorance. They believe that the shadows are entirety of reality, as they have never experienced anything else because they have been in the prison. What is that prison? Ignorance. You see, I'm just giving you proof. That prison is ignorance. I have to move from ignorance to wisdom. Discernment. The prisoner escaped. Now what happened? Only few can escape the prison. Prison of what? Only few can escape the ignorance. I'm just explaining in my own way. One prisoner manages to break free from the chains and turns towards the fire. Now he turns towards the fire, and the objects casting the shadows. I turn towards the water, casting the shadows of the waves. Metaphor. Again, I'm saying, I'm pointing my finger to the moon. This finger is not the moon. That is the beauty of discernment that we have to contemplate. So, bright light of the fire initially blinds the prisoner. Once you enter into that area of real self, you feel mind is blindfolded. That is why we have lot of stories how you cannot resist if you have a impure mind, and the reality is painful and confusing to comprehend. No, we have already purified the mind. So now the freed prisoner is guided out of the cave and into the outside world where they encounter the sun and they find the true nature of the reality. That was not exactly the fire, that was the sun. So what happens? At first, the brightness of the sun is overwhelming, and the prisoner can only look at the shadows and reflections. Do you understand the story? What a great idea. These were the rare breed. People are born and they pass on this wisdom. Can only look at the shadows and the reflect. Gradually, the prisoner's eyes adjust and they can see the world in its entirety, including the sun itself. Now there are two things. I see the sun as the real self, and now I see the shadows also. I see the entire process. I see the water, I see the waves, I see the sky, I see the blueness. Okay, gradually examine. Now see the problem is not does not stop here. Now the enlightened prisoner returns to the cave. Now he knows what is the reality. Clear? Now he knows, he returns to the cave, and now prisoners do not want to believe this enlightened one and may even ridicule and threaten them for challenging their perceived reality. Other prisoners are challenging. You are crazy. These shadows are real. I am the body and the mind is real. Come on. Are you understanding? That's why I picked up this metaphor. It makes a sense. Now they are fighting. They are, look at this. Huh? The majority rules. Hitler says, when you say something and it is spoken by hundreds of people, the mob, some phrase is there. Whatever the mob says is real. So all the prisoners except one enlightened prisoner, how he can sustain that? Enlightened prisoner tries to explain that the shadows are not a reality, but the other prisoners, content with their limited understanding, they reject their idea. Are you getting it? They reject their idea. So you see, the cave represents the limited, illusion-filled world. First group. Remember the first group, in which many people live unaware of the true nature of the real self. The shadows symbolize the incomplete and distorted perception. I feel body, I have an experience. How dare you say that I am not the body? Distorted perception. The journey out of the cave represents the pursuit of the wisdom. It is the journey of ignorance to wisdom. That is what we have been doing. Are you getting it? Yes, which can be difficult and uncomfortable, but ultimately, if we persist, if we continue, the journey results. The sun symbolizes the ultimate source of the truth and the knowledge. Sun is the real self. Sun is the real self. Did you understand it? Did you see that? This is the journey of Viveka. And let us close your eyes, place, position, and the posture. Place of the body. Now the place where you are meditating. Position of the body. Very good. And then position of the body. Position of the body. Being comfortable. Check that you are comfortable, my friend. My friends, check that you're really comfortable. And then you're carefree. I'm not talking of you have already understood. Can I say if you are a higher seeker, you know what I say. How you move into being comfortable, how you move into being carefree. Very good. And then Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Can you apply Viveka here? Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. You already know everyone in the group. So we'll move your mind on this, each and every one shadow. See the reality behind. Name and the form. Brandy, Ashok, David, Jerry, Girish, Christina are the shadow. Oh, that is why we say happiness is our essential nature. It is common. All the different steps of Viveka are included here. We will understand that. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Same process is the same. Same allegory used by the Plato, but explained by the Eastern wisdom better. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. When you keep on reciting this, your mind will change. Your mind will love chanting, reciting. Why? It contains the essence. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. You leave aside inauspiciousness. You don't like the yellow colored candy. That is inauspiciousness. But candy is always sweet. You stay there. You settle into the sweetness. That is one Viveka, right and the wrong. Can we find that right in the wrong? You see the beauty of this Viveka? Viveka means going to the knowledge of that reality. And now we will continue the pranayama and also the pratyahara, because our masters laid down these 5 groups of practices. Third, we are in the third. So, but it doesn't mean that I have understood, I will leave it. That is another mistake because of lack of discernment about our life, and we miss it. So looking deep inside the forehead, and that is a part of the pratyahara. You see, we have been doing it since beginning. So now you can easily understand. withdrawal of the mind. So sense organs will not focus on any object outside. It will not create an image. So looking inside the forehead in the space, dropping Om Shanti, you are reminding you are in the withdrawal state. And then you start breathing quick and short breath into the chest, my friends. Continue breathing in the state of stillness in the body. You see, the stage is set for a next plot in this drama. Meditation is also a drama, a real drama. Where he said, take it casually, but with awareness and alertness, understanding. Then you can only take it casually. Otherwise, you will start scratching your nose. Continue breathing, quick and short breath into the rib cage, dropping Om Shanti, stillness in the body continues. Do you forget breathing? Do you forget dropping Om Shanti? The moment there is a forgetfulness, that is also a part of ignorance, then only the mind will go to the body and you will start scratching. Now leave this, pay attention to the flow of the breath at the tip of the nose. I told you, less flow, pay attention. Otherwise, normally what happens, you are aware of both the flow. No change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath, you are checking. In that awareness of the flow of the breath, the body remains steady and still. Motionless state of the body. We need that in the beginning. Later on, we can move the body any way we like. And that level of awareness and attention, vigilant, not only helps us, so we combine all the pranayama, the pratyahara, and the viveka. And now looking inside the forehead again, drop Om Shanti. And the third breathing, you inhale with a hissing sound first into the belly, then into the chest, and breathe out from the belly and the chest. Long, deep in the hissing sound. Long, deep in the hissing sound. Long, deep in the hissing sound, you inhale both into the belly and the chest, one after the other. You exhale from the belly and the chest, one after the other. But you continue, do not stop, dropping Om Shanti deep inside the space, inside the forehead, and you remember the simple principle. Your intellect is saturated with the principle. Oh, resistance, endurance. Resistance is Rajoguna. Rajoguna takes us far away. So resistance, endurance. Endurance is also a Rajoguna, so it's a good Rajoguna. And then the joy of doing is Satoguna. And joy of being is higher than the Satoguna. These principles were understood not merely for intellectual understanding, but for experiential learning. चलो याद आया फिर सांस लेना शुरू किया कहाँ खोए हुए हो प्रभु जी मन को लगा के रखो भाई long deep and the hissing breath continues we'll focus more on the third type, the breathing. For a couple of sessions, you will recognize the importance of it. So, continue breathing. Long, deep, and the hissing breath. अरे झटके से नहीं करना है बंधु जी कहीं खोए हुए हो आज तबीयत ठीक नहीं है तुम्हारी And now leave this, pay attention to the flow of the breath and just check it how the breath returns to its normal pattern. Continue to pay attention on the flow of the breath. And today we'll add Nyasa. Start breathing deep, silent, and slow. As you inhale, first your belly expands, silent breath, and then the chest. It's not done in a hurry. Slower, silent you do, it will help you raise your awareness. So what we do in Nyasa? As you inhale, move the mind from the top center of the head to the spine, reaching to the tailbone, singing in your mind. You're singing loudly in your mind. You hear that sound in your mind. Om Shanti. Your inhalation ends at the tailbone. During exhalation, again you start singing. Om Shanti. That Shanti reaches and touches the top center of the head. You can see not only the pranayama, you can see the pratyahara, but you can see the experiential learning, the Viveka part also. You are able to see the movement of the breath singing in your mind, movement of the mind, stillness of the body, all are as if they are separate. Oh, really? Look at it. If it is not so, and there is no resistance at all. There is a sync, there is a harmony. Beautiful. Continue to do it. Some people, it takes time for them to reach to a withdrawal of the mind. And so what happens? This stage, nyasa is basically a higher step where the mind wants to get absorbed, but some people withdraws their mind in that stage. So that tells me the story that where you stand in the journey. A lot of steps, a lot of understanding is there. We'll understand all those things. And now leave this nyasa also. Move your mind in the cave of your heart. Visualize the triangle of any color, equilateral triangle pointing upward. Then move the mind on each side of a triangle, just dropping Om Shanti on each side of a triangle, moving the mind in a clockwise and anti-clockwise directions until you sink. You feel, it is sink already. Because mind is already withdrawn inside. And in that state, when you find the mind is moving inside, or you find the mind seems to stop for a while, that is the right time. Singing pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart, mind seemingly stops and you drop Shanti, that is all. After that, what I have to do? Nothing. So our mind in ignorance thinks that doing nothing that I have to hold the body. No. You hold the body only when the mind tries to escape outside. So it means pratyahara is not done completely. The first step is not done. Like this. and remain in that state, my friends. Enjoy that state, wait for a revelation. Don't start thinking the revelation. Oh, what kind of a revelation? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences. Now, how are you, Dennis?
Thank you. The practice was deep, enjoyable, I would say. Deep dark space at the end, and the mind was ready to continue for much longer. Thank you.
Beautiful. If the mind wants to continue for a longer period, so it is better that we should do this practice every day and keep half an hour and 1 hour window. One guy is doing, he sits in, he lives in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. So he's able to do it for even 3 hours. Another practice. So in the beginning, we need to do those for longer hours. Very good. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The last several lessons has really almost created a reset for me of putting back to the reestablishing the fundamentals of this journey and realizing the methodical nature of it. And over the last couple of days, it has had a tremendous impact on my meditations, my awareness levels, and so I'm seeing a very quick change, and I thank you for that. As far as this meditation goes, I was absorbed in the darkness and the silence, and similar to what Dennis, I could have just continued to go. And thank you.
Beautiful. One thing we have to be very clear, people miss this point. We should have a higher level of understanding and knowledge. Means I have to put my intellect and the mind into the service of learning this self-discovery. Normally, people put lot of emphasis on certain specifically specified practice, and it becomes a cult dogma and blind belief, and it does not bring the result. So that is what he is referring, higher level of awareness. So when you have that clear understanding, it helps you to raise your level of awareness, and ultimately that is what makes us aware of the sun outside so we don't believe the shades are the real, according to Plato. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Really enjoyed the lesson today, as always, but the metaphor really strikes a chord with me. The meditation, to Dennis's point, was extremely deep. I don't have any time frames on it. It was interesting on the Nyasa, I was breathing in down the spine, knowledge and freedom, and breathing out the shackles of being a prisoner. When I was doing the Nyasa. So consequently, I sort of got to this deeper free level. I realized that we're prisoners of the mind. I think that's sort of a cliche saying, so true. So if we just sit back and focus and just get rid of the shackles, it'll be powerful.
Definitely. Prisoner, mind is the prisoner, and what is that is the ignorance. Mind does not want to believe. It continues to live in the same ignorance, and we have to get rid of this ignorance layer by layer. And then suddenly we see the sun. Oh, blindfolded. Oh, I've entered into that state of pure, infinite, all pervading consciousness. That is equated to a symbolic, metaphorically, as a sun. Beautifully said. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. The meditation was deep. The mind went right into the essence of the mantra and just stayed there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So even if you pick up the two mantras we have been using, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, and we have been using Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu. I act and then remember the principle. I live in ignorance. I remember and then I act. I live in wisdom. Did you understand this? So when I remember, recall, that is the fourth group. Understand this. How are you, Brandy?
Thank you. I'm good. I was thinking about your story about the shadows and how, like, when you're a little kid and you first discover your shadow, how impressively distorted it is.
Yeah.
You know, like long, and And so I was just thinking about that's really how I think our minds sometimes misperceive the world. And I said my meditation was good. It was deep.
Yes, you are right. You recall that. In fact, in my childhood, I used to get too much scared with the shadow, my own shadow. And I was totally blindfolded how this shadow is chasing me. So we have many shadows in this world. I have money, I don't have money. I'm married, I'm single. All these are shadows. All these are shadows. I'm too old to get married. So why you want to marry? so too old. No, I'm too young to marry. Again, the focus is outside. And it takes time to understand it. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm good. Today's practice is like that I am sitting and I'm slowing down the activities of the mind.
Yeah.
To realize that I am in control of that mind. So it realizes me that I can control it and it remains calm and it does not deviate.
Yes, that's a beautiful, metaphorically said that you slow down the speed of the mind. One master talks in detail about it. We'll talk about it. That is in the Upanishad. You slow down the speed of the mind, and everything you feel the world has slowed down. Actually, the world continues to move in the same way. Do you see the metaphor in this? If I bring the speed of the mind slow, the entire world seems to be moving slowly. And there we find the relaxation and the calmness. Unnecessarily, we get into anxiety, stress. But anyhow, those who are meant for it, they will go for it. Christina, how are you?
Thank you. I've also noticed the slowness and giving the mind a chance to remember and then the reaction. So I've just noticed when you started off today with noticing changes in your life, and there's many that I've noticed.
What are those
because
changes?
of the slowness. Yeah.
What are those changes?
I wrote them down today. Less anxiety, less blame, less resentment, not getting carried away in the thoughts, less reactivity, handling big and small things differently.
Yeah, big, beautiful. That is a slowing down of the mind. Beautiful. Thank you. How are you, Terry?
It was a deep, dark, in the quiet, aware,
Very good.
Space.
Very good.
And moving in a calm direction.
That's really beautiful. Means your understanding was deeper, and that resulted into a deeper state of your meditation. That's a beautiful. How are you, Ashok?
Sir, namaste.
Sir, namaste.
Sir, meditation was good, and in between mind was goes here and there, but again it come back to when we listen to you, then we again come back to the meditation, and it was good, sir. I mean,
good.
Slowly and slowly we are going to the into the right direction.
Yeah. You have to check wherever the mind is going. That is what the prison of the mind. What the David said. Very good. Continue to do this practice. We'll meet in the next lesson. That is all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Namaste,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Namaste, everyone.